Extreme, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Extreme who?
Yeah.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Just Extreme.
Extreme. What's your business called?
Yeah, extreme. Yeah.
Extreme.
Okay, you're on. Where's your sound? Yeah, your sound.
I know, but we can't see anything. Oh, okay. I
Yes,
can't
I
see
can.
anything. It probably would have been better lower. Okay. I can't see because of the light.
She's on.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't look like I'm on. Sorry, guys. We were having some technical difficulties, so we've been a little bit delayed. I'm so sorry. Welcome to tonight's show of Let's Talk About Ice. Have something a little bit different for you tonight. We haven't got anybody on the couch, as you can see, but thanks to Extreme and our wonderful Brad, who is able to do this live cross across to Victoria. So we will be talking to Tim from Victoria, which I'll introduce in a little while. But before we do, I just wanted to do a couple of house cleaning. Is that what you call it? Or housework? Or
Housekeeping.
housekeeping, that's it, not cleaning. Just wanted to do a bit of housekeeping. Just remind you guys that firstly, do a big shout out to Terry Morris from Sirime Wines, and thank you so much for the office space that we're able to work out of. We are so grateful. We did put a press release out and hoping that the Bulletin is going to run an article on you, Mr. Morris, and we're really grateful for the opportunity to be able to work in these amazing offices. So thank you. And we've got a few events coming up, guys. Firstly, the Neo Gala event in Daisy Hill, that is in Queensland, in just on the way to Brisbane. It's going to be an amazing night. It's going to have some amazing musicians and talents, and it's going to be canapes and wine and beer, and it's going to be a great night. I'll be there. Our team will be there. And hopefully we'll see you there, because it's all to help raise funds to produce a commercial in relation to awareness about the dangers of ice. So we need to get the message out there to our youth and to our community about what ice does and the destruction that it causes. Also, Comedy for a Cause. Oh, okay. Yeah, all these events, by the way, are on our Facebook page and on our web page, so you'll be able to go on to that and have a look at the different events going on in your state. We have Comedy for a Cause in Sydney, so if you're in Sydney, you can go and have a fun night out and help what we do. So to keep doing what we're doing, we're not government funded, guys, so we need your support, we need your involvement. The funds that we raise in Sydney go directly to Sydney schools, so I encourage you to get onto our events page and book your ticket. Don't miss out. Tickets are already started to sell. So that's not till October, but we are already selling tickets for that one. The Neo Gala is in Daisy Hill is in August, at the end of August. So please, if you're from that area, support us and come out and have some fun with us. And don't forget, September the 15th, we are doing our almost national now, Walk Against Ice. So thank you to the Rotaries who have partnered up with Australian Anti-Ice Campaign to help put on this awareness event. So it's the Walk Against Ice, September the 15th. If you hop onto our webpage, which is www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au, you'll be able to pick what area you're in and see if there's a walk close to you. You can participate. We will be walking together in unity and standing against ice, the drug ice, and all the funds raised from that goes back to your community. So there are different walks happening. We have some in Victoria, we have some in New South Wales, we have some in Cairns and on the Gold Coast and in WA. So please check that out. Become actively part of the change in your community. So, don't delay. It's like $20 to register. You can buy a t-shirt if you like, and a hat, and just walk in unity with us, because it changes the future for tomorrow. Today we know that we have a problem. There was a 480% increase in meth found in our wastewater over 6 years. We now have another 17% spike from January to April. That's on top of that. The problem's not going away. It's not reducing. That is the only real hard evidence that we have, which is the wastewater, which, that's the only thing that we can govern the increase from, that is real. And we're not getting marks on the board here, guys. We need to actually get in front of our kids, warn them from lived experience, and show them the devastation that this drug is going to do to their life if they say yes to it. So our message is not even once. Guys, I want to go across to Brad now. He's going to play a clip for you that was played at the 10 by 10 as a promo to what we do, and I want you to have a look at that, and I'll be right back. Thanks, Brad.
Australia's fight against ice has reached our schools. Dealers are now targeting kids as young as 12, but a radical new program run by former ice addicts is trying to educate students about the ugly reality of life on the drug.
I never thought I would be an ice addict. Australia is a base for ice. You wouldn't eat this.
I was dumbfounded when I saw the ingredients of it.
Never ceases to amaze me how many kids are actually affected by ice.
We love our kids, and we don't want our kids to fall into that trap.
You don't want to try this, guys. You don't want to try this.
This really needs to be in every school in Australia. It needs to be nationally.
It's a really, really scary journey, and I don't wish that upon my worst enemy.
It's raw, it's confronting, but it could be life-changing for some of these kids.
My name's Andrea Simmons, and I'm the director of the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign. Australian Anti-Ice Campaign educate youth in high schools on the dangers of ice from lived experience. We have trained people who have recovered from ice addiction, and they integrate their own personal hell into the evidence-based practice presentation. We're here today to put a call to action to you to implement this program across our nation. Australia, it's important that we protect our kids from this drug. It is stealing, killing, and destroying our nation and families out there. You never know, this could be your child, your parent, your loved one. Get behind us so that we can take this to our nation. I thank you for your heart and for caring for the youth of today, which is the future of tomorrow.
Alright guys, that was a segment that was played on a current affair not too long ago, and I'm particularly playing that today because we are uniting all across Australia with the local Rotaries, the Lions, with individuals. You as an individual can make a difference to help us keep doing what we're doing. It costs us about $10 to educate one youth, to get in front of one youth and protect them with what we share with them, and it's real lived experience and evidence-based practice together to deliver that information, and have a workshop with them where they can ask the questions that they wouldn't ask a teacher, a parent, or somebody in authority. So we're there to help them and to make pathways for people into rehab and into recovery. So we can't do that without your help. We're still not government funded. We are reapproaching government for federal funding, but until then, I'll let you know that 27 youth a day, every day, another 27 youth are becoming addicted to ice, according to the stats. We can make a difference, and we need your help and your unity in that. So if you are an individual, please hop onto our webpage and join the AIC Army today. You will receive an ebook that will give you some information about the dangers of ice, and you'll be able to share that with your loved ones. You'll also receive regular newsletters, if you like, about what we're doing. But more importantly, you can help protect some children. So $10 a month will help protect one child. So you can help as an individual. We have some businesses getting on board as well. So Gardner Cars last month were able to come on board and help educate 300 kids in their community. So we are now embarking on that. Also 10 by 10 were able to sponsor the education, I think, of 240 kids. And we have Mercer and Cooper, who have joined us as well recently, and they are looking at every property that they sell. A percentage of that they're going to be giving back to educate kids in their community. So if you're an individual or a business, you can help. Okay, the difference starts with us. Don't think that we can't do nothing about the problem. This is an epidemic, and it's hitting everybody, and we need you to get on board and help be part of the change. So Mercer and Cooper, there'll be a video coming up next week about what they do and how they're helping. We did do a live interview with them, but today I want to take you across to Victoria, and I want to introduce you to Mr. Tim Sell from Aggression Management Solution, and he's also taken the lead role in Victoria as the state manager. Tim, welcome.
Hi Andrea, how are you today?
Fantastic, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tim, on the show. I know you've had your head down and doing a lot of work within your state and putting your team together and getting them ready to, to do various projects across Victoria in different areas. And it's a lot of work, and we need the community to get on board and become actively involved. So, I just honour you for taking that leadership role and wanting to get in front of these youth today, not yesterday, but today. So Tim, I want you to talk to us a little bit about what you do before you came on board with AAIC and why. So if you can give us a bit of a brief rundown about you and your history and what you actually do with Aggression Management Solution.
Sure. I also own a company called International Security Training Academy, which has been operating for 33 years. It's primarily been training security guards, crowd controllers, bodyguards, investigators. Around about 20 years ago, we were approached by the Nurses Union to develop non-violent restraint and control programs for the mental health industry and hospitals throughout Australia. In developing that program, we've noticed increasing levels of ICE-affected patients come into the emergency departments. They're extremely aggressive. The resources that are taken by these people who are having psychotic episodes are taking life-threatening resources away from other people who need them desperately. I'm not only seeing it in hospitals, we're seeing it in shopping centres, security being the first people who experience this type of violence. We're seeing it in patrols. It's pretty well out of control. The epidemics that we're seeing, not only in the cities but in the regional areas, is just incredible. So we've not seen these levels of violence before. A lot of the major police chases that you see on the television are usually people who are affected by ICE. So it's clogging up the hospitals. It's affecting most of the call-outs for police, and it's also causing major domestic violence issues in our community. So what I've done is set up a brand new business called Aggression Management Solution. The website's www.aggressionhelp.com.au, and it's targeting mums and dads, members of the community who are being affected by members of the family who are affected by ICE or drugs or alcohol, domestic violence and abuse. So these programs we're going to start running not only here in Victoria but right around Australia, and a percentage of the profits obviously will be going to AAIC to help fight the ICE epidemic that we have in this country, and sponsor children that are being educated in the primary schools and high schools.
Thank you, Tim. That's amazing, and I've seen personally firsthand some of the work that you've done, having you allowing our team to work out of ISTA initially, and it's phenomenal the way that the training that you do with your security guards in relation to aggression confrontation, and I was just blown away, by the love poured out of your team to deal with people that are in that place in a loving way and from a place of that could be me, and that's what really created a solid partnership of love with ISTA and yourself and the work that you do, Tim. So I'm really excited about the training that the workshops and the training that you're going to be doing with families across Australia, because it is so necessary, not only for families but for workplaces. You know, that people are coming across people, you know, in psychosis and active addiction who have lost the plot and they don't know how to deal with people. So the work that you're doing is so necessary, and I'm so excited about that.
It's an interesting one when you talk about workplaces. I've had family members say that their sons who are doing apprenticeships are being fed methamphetamines or ice by their supervisors at work. It's football players, you know, kids that are going out on the football field are, you know, in the past have been fed ice by their coaches, you know. People just don't realise the dangers of this drug and what impact it has. And I guess what I've learned over the last 3 years working with AAIC and yourself, Andrea, and the way you go about training your facilitators, there's a lot of structure there, and there's a lot of detail, and there's a lot of quality control in the way you train these trainers. And you know, I think between this last 3 years, I think we've trained about 20 people here in Victoria that are ready to go in school. So we're desperate for sponsors. We're desperate for schools to come on board and to reach out to us. And but also there's that backup support that AIC have for those families who do have affected members that need support and need help. So you know, we really need the community to get behind what we're doing here. And there's a march, obviously, or a walk on the 15th of September that we want the Victorian community to get involved with and support this, you know, what is an epidemic in our society.
And Tim, you know, with those funds that we raise from that walk, we'll be able to do more work in the States. So, you know, get it out there into more schools and put on more workshops, both for families and also for the youth. And we've been doing evening sessions as well of recent. Instead of holding community forums, when we go into a community and into a school, we've been doing evening sessions for the parents. And I think, you know, seeing some firsthand, we get the calls on our helpline of family members, you know, physically, apart from the emotional and the emotional abuse, but physically abused and not knowing how to cope and how to handle people that are in psychosis or aggressive from ICE. So I'm so excited about the program that you're going to be rolling out, or that you've already started rolling out in Victoria, but we definitely need it throughout Australia. I think there'll be a huge call out for it. Where can people find out more information, Tim, about what you do, and then we'll move on to do a call out for volunteers for your area for Australian Anti-ICE campaign. But where can they find out about Aggression Management Solution?
So they can simply go to aggressionhealth.com.au. So aggressionhealth.com.au. And from there's a number of programs that we run. And we'll be running different programs in different states. Ideally, we need 12 people to run a program. So usually there's people in the community. We'll be keeping or setting set dates in different states and territories for those programs. And if there is a need, if you can get 12 people together, then we'll come and run those programs in your community.
That's awesome.
It's just a matter of going to our communication and let us know. And it's the beauty of this technology. It's non-violent communication. It's a different method of communication than what you're used to. And if there is physical violence, we're teaching you non-violent restraint and control techniques that aren't going to hurt your family member, and ideally protect yourself as well. So, and the other thing is, a lot of families choose not to call the police. Well, if they do choose to call the police, then what other options do they have? So we look at risk management, we look at risk assessment, put contingency plans in place, because the child or the family member who's affected, who you've grown up with, that you love dearly, isn't the person that's before you when they're having a psychotic episode. And turn into a completely different human being. And unfortunately, the average person on the street, unless you're highly trained and skilled on dealing with violence and aggression, don't know how to deal or communicate or defend themselves or respond or escape from these types of incidents. So we give you those tools, we give you those strategies, and give you other options. And we also give a pathway for those who are affected by ICE, who are causing the violence, theft, and aggression in the family. We give them an option of pathway to get out of the hell that they're in, and get the help that they need. And what AAIC are doing in supplying that help is just extraordinary. So
We have-
it's
Tim, to cut you off.
something new and different.
Yeah, we have been able to, I guess, connect with a lot of companies out there that work within the industry, drug testing and hospitals and police that, have called upon some help, where we can come in and, apart from families, where we can come in and help people that they're, trying to work with that might be ready or in a place where they need to make a change. Some lawyers, sometimes people that are in addiction, go to see lawyers, or they get busted by police, or they're in court, and they, pretty much come to a corner where they need to make some changes in their life. And that's where we do what we do best. We step in and hopefully through the family intervention and helping the family get stronger and more resilient, I guess, to the person in addiction, and teach them some tools to be able to cope. We can then maybe connect with their loved one that's in addiction and help create the pathway out. So that's our heartbeat, and we're just just honoured to work with you, Tim. I've seen some of the work that you do and your team does, and I can't wait to get some people on the ground here on the Gold Coast trained, with some skills that you offer. But you were sharing with me the other day, and I know for privacy you can't share any names, but you were sharing some stories with me the other day, and I kind of want the people to know why you decided to partner up with AAIC and what you've been seeing on the streets of Victoria in your field of work, and through friends and people that you know. So that was really touching, and this is happening everywhere, every day.
Just in the last 3 months, I've lost 3 friends through suicide. A couple of them were affected by ICE and didn't have another option out. And what was really terrible, what I'm finding, is those people who do choose to take their own life is that they don't talk to their families, they don't talk to their friends, because they don't want to be ashamed of what they're feeling and going through.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? There's I want to try and create a suicide saver where people can ring someone who is close in their vicinity, who, maybe a buddy that can take them for a coffee, have a chat, look at other options, that have had some form of training that can link them to the right professional organisations who, can help them and save them.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of the people who are affected by ICE, again, they tend not to share it because it's an embarrassment to their family and their good name. So the issue of talking about it and talking with people from AAIC who, are professionals, they know the right communication to talk to the family members or affected person over the phone, who can get them the right type of help, is the right way to go. Just to have that message out there. It's okay to talk. It's okay to get on the phone. It's okay to act.
Absolutely.
Because the other option is just shouldn't be an option.
That's right, absolutely not. And we're seeing that, from youth to, people, professionals that are, using ICE, and people, the amount of people suiciding. A couple of months ago, we had a family member who wasn't on anything, but dealing with a loved one on ICE, and so it was so painful for so long that she took her own life. and she couldn't cope anymore. And please, please, please don't suffer alone. That's just devastating to have to walk this on your own. We have some tools that we can provide you with. We want to walk with you. We want to link you up to services. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, everybody has stuff. We all have stuff that we go through. Please just reach out. It is a private conversation that we have with you. We have privacy laws and acts that we have to follow. We want to help you, yeah, and it's not anything to be ashamed from. If I'm speaking to families out there, if your child or your loved one's in addiction, it's not your fault. Yeah, you've got to get that. I came from a great family, brought up very strict, had the best upbringing. It's not my family's fault that I said yes to that pipe that day. I take total responsibility for that. And when the person's in addiction, they want to blame everybody, and they'll blame the family, and they'll make them feel like it's their fault. But it's not your fault. They've made their own choices, yeah? Please reach out for help. Don't go through this alone. Yeah, and we have a contact number that you can ring, and that will hook you up with a peer support, family support person. And that number is 1-800 No to ICE, 1-800-NOTOICE, and there'll be the numbers underneath. I don't know what they actually are. I just know them with the letters. But on the screen here, you'll be able to get that number, or you can send us a private message on Facebook. We'd love to help you. Yeah. We also use that line for people that are in addiction and they've had enough of that lifestyle and that cycle and that destruction that life brings. And if I'm talking to you, you'll be working with somebody like myself or other our facilitators and presenters who have been through it. We're here to help you because somebody helped us, and that's our heartbeat. We just want to reach out to you today and give us a call, send us a message, and say let us know that you've had enough and you're ready to do something with your life, because your life's worth it. Destruction and destroying your family and loved ones' lives around you is not the answer to whatever you're masking or whatever issues have come up for you in life. Yeah. So yeah, that really touched me, Tim. When you shared with me this week about that, and I just thought that people should really get to know this and to know. Please be aware about your family members. Be aware what people are going through, and offer a cup of coffee and give them a number, give them our number, give them Tim's number for help. Yeah. So just don't put it under the carpet. Don't put things under the carpet like that. They need to be addressed and spoken about and worked through.
And I liked, one of the things that you talked about, Andrea, and we've been doing for a while, but having the buddies here in Victoria, all around Australia for that matter, those buddies are there, trained, ready to go, who can be a support person for anyone in the community, and it's,
yes.
It's all free. So, the resources are there. It's just a matter of, reaching out and having that communication and just trusting that, there's people that do care, do have an interest in, your well-being.
Yeah, definitely. So, Tim, if somebody wants, say, for instance, Coffs Harbour team, if they want to have some training, some training from you, how do they go about organising that? They need to get a group together?
Yeah, so ideally a group of 12 or more. 20 is a really good number. We can go up to 30. And yeah, we usually run them in usually town halls or areas where there's tables and chairs. We have an opened area where we teach the self-defense, and if they're doing a day course, it's usually 9 a.m. till 5 in the afternoon, so it's a full day. And if it's an evening, it'll be 2 evenings, usually 6:30 to 9:30. And that's over 2 nights.
That's fantastic.
And there's different levels as well. Once they do the basic level, there's an intermediate and advanced. But most people find that the intermediate level the basic level is more than enough. And there's a very strong communication, conflict resolution, The way you talk to an affected person isn't the way you normally talk to your children. There's a different psyche behind it, and it's using different strategies. Ideally, you don't put the fire out with petrol. You use more of a passive, loving, nurturing approach when you're dealing with people who are affected. Because what tends to happen, we don't want to trigger people who are already in an agile state that are looking at being violent and aggressive. So we use different strategies, different conflict resolution systems, and there's the physical side if it escalates. So simply contacting us on that website, aggressionhelp.com.au, leaving your name, phone number and details, and saying you'd like to run a program in Coffs Harbour for 12 people. Give us a date or preferred dates. One of our staff will call you back and organise a time and run a program for you.
That's fantastic. I'm so excited to have this up here on the coast and get some people trained in that. Now with AAIC there, Tim, where are we at in terms of, I guess, the team there? Are we accepting volunteers at this point? What's the strategy moving forward for the team there?
Yeah, definitely. We're looking for volunteers here in Victoria. We do have some amazing people that are part of the executive group here. And we've got a lot of support, obviously, from Andrea and the team in Queensland, and Glenn and Vanessa and so on. If you are looking at volunteering here in Victoria, contact AAIC. They'll give you my contact details. I'm happy for you to call me direct. That's no problem, and more than happy for you to come along to our meetings and be involved. We want to try and get as many people on the 15th of September for the Walk Against ICE, and also help us with sponsorship of getting sponsors to sponsor schools. It could be accountants, it could have law firms, any businesses who are interested in sponsoring children be educated on ICE in our high schools and primary schools in Victoria. So, very keen on getting people involved in our volunteer programs.
That's exciting, Tim. You know, we've had of recent some feedback from some of the schools that have just been coming back to us because we had some universities on board doing evaluations for the government and so forth. But some of the feedback coming back is things like, this is the best education I've seen in 25 years. I haven't seen anything like this in the lifetime that I've been teaching, and this has impacted my kids learning other drug education that we're rolling out. And it's just been phenomenal to know that, you know, something happens where they open their eyes within our workshop, and it opens them up to discussion and understanding from a different approach, and they're able to look at their other drug education that the teachers deliver in a different way, and we're just like stoked to be able to be part of that change, you know, and really affect, you know, tomorrow's generation, because, you know, it's somebody's kid, you know, it's somebody's child, somebody's loved one, it's somebody's brother, sister, and, you know, they're not really protected. One of the questions on their question sheet that, you know, they answer, do you know what about ICE? And yeah, I know it's bad. Do you know what it looks like? Well, no. Do you know how it's taken? Not really. Well, how would you know if you were offered it? You know, these kids need to know what it is, what it does, what's going to happen. You know, we're not saying to them, don't do drugs. We're just showing them what's going to happen, and kidney failure and drug heart issues and brain and memory issues and long-term effects that you can't take back. So they see things from a different perspective, you know, when we walk into a classroom, and it's amazing how the community is joining forces for this, you know.
Yeah, and I think what's said, I've spoken to a lot of people who have seen the AIC program and looked at other programs that have been facilitated by people who are not ex-ICE addicts, and the feedback I'm getting is that, you know, the kids are saying, and the teachers, the principals, the teachers are saying, that was full on, that was real. You know, I had no idea that by taking that drug, it's going to do the damage that it would do. And these people were just so real and talking from life experience, you know, and it just moves these people. And you know, I talk to these kids afterwards, and I say, you know, and then they'll say things like, how can people be so stupid to take it? You know, and one kid said to me, if I hadn't had this lesson, there's no, you know, I definitely would have it because I've seen it around. I would have definitely taken it. Now there's no way in hell that I would take this drug. So
That's what I mean.
He's had
We're
a
protecting
paradigm
the
shift
kids.
in his attitude with his relationship with this drug. So, and it takes like an hour, you know, it's an hour and a half lesson to have an incredible impact on these kids' views.
And it's a lifelong impact. What we're seeing, we had our evaluation over the 3 years. We had an evaluation done and a report produced on the impact of our workshops over that time, looking at different areas and different workshops that were conducted throughout schools. And out of a value of 10, they assess it on. I mean, it's comprehensive and it has, you know, a detailed report. But just to give you an idea, out of a value of 10, they rated the program 9. And I was like, well, I'm happy with that. You know, we're always looking to strive for perfection. There is no perfection. Unfortunately, we can only just better what we do every day. But, you know, 9 out of 10 for an overall evaluation approach over, you know, the national scope of what we do over the last, you know, 4 or 5 years is, you know, we were stoked that the impact was that high, and the feedback was so phenomenal. Now we're doing a university-based evaluation for, I think it's long-term effects, and yeah, it's going to be amazing when that's released, and that should be published later on in the year. Through the university, so it's an external evaluation. So, I mean, hop onto our website. You can see all the feedback forms and what the teachers and students are saying. And you know, if I'm talking to you out there, community, get in touch with your school. You know, if you're a teacher, don't prevent this education from getting in front of your kids. You know, you could be saving their life. I almost lost mine because of this drug. I had no idea. You know, and people know, yeah, it's stupid, don't take drugs, it's bad for you. But people do it. You don't realise, you know, how easy a split decision, not knowing that, oh, it's just something to smoke. You know, it doesn't look like a big deal, but it can destroy somebody's life and a family's life forever. So please, you know, think about that, because your kids matter. And I know that teachers care for their kids. But parents, it's your child here. You know, hop into your school, say, you know, we want them protected. It's because there's drugs everywhere. You know, you can get it anywhere.
And on the other side too, Andrea, you've got your families who have businesses. You've got mums and dads that have got their own businesses out there that, you know, instead of paying the tax man, they're paying, you know, to save their whole school, their community kids and the next generation. You know, there's tax deductions that they can gain from sponsoring people in their schools. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if you know people who have got businesses who, you know, are interested in promoting their business, you know, get them involved. You know, look at some of the major corporations in this country. You know, who do you bank with? Who do you get most of your fuel from? You know, these massive organisations that need to step up and start sponsoring the AIC and start, you know, saving the community. It's a great opportunity for big players to get on board. So
Absolutely.
that's what we need. You know, we need those big sponsors to get on board so we can, you know, educate every child, not only in primary schools, high schools, but in universities as well, and then start working, you know, and the workplaces.
Absolutely. You know, it's not like we don't just want to do year 12s because they're leaving school. Every kid matters, you know, from year 7, you know, grade 6 we've been into, you know. It's not fair that some people get it and some people don't receive the education. And you're right, Tim, you know, your business can make a difference. We are a non-for-profit charity that's DGR compliant, so you'll be able, whatever you donate towards educating your kids can be 100% tax deductible. and you will be making a difference. Thanks. So, Tim,
I
any
had one
last
family just recently in a hospital, Andrea. It was interesting. They'd never had any experience with violence, never had any experience with drugs.
Yeah.
They were in there to get a very small bit of first aid done to their 5-year-old child's arm. Just fell over in school, had a big splinter in it and so on. And an ICE affected person was admitted to ED, and the violence and the force that this person used against the staff members and the upset it created just terrified this mother and the young child. And she said, and I spoke to her afterwards about what had happened, and she said, I had no idea that this was happening, and until it affects you and your family and your lifestyle, people don't understand the impact. So it's unfortunately, you don't want it to be your kid. You don't want it to be in your family or your environment. So the only way of stamping it out is through education, and that's what ARC is doing. So
people think that it may not be directly affecting them in their face, like in their initial family for now, right? Because it's everywhere and everybody's, so many people falling into it. But, they are paying for it. It compromises your security of your family and your well-being. Your money, government's money is going into mental health and into more policing and into homelessness. All of that has escalated. Suicide, mental health, extremely escalated over the last few years due to ICE. So if you think that you are not being affected by it because you haven't got a family member on it, firstly think, will they be affected by it tomorrow? Because it could happen to anybody. It happened to me. Yeah, it could happen to confront anybody, and so you as a parent, or you want to get your kids protected. Secondly, you are paying for it. I've seen towns, remote towns, Tim, closing down. Businesses and the whole people moving out of towns. It was on ABC, on a report on ABC a couple of years ago. Towns closing down because of ICE. They couldn't go out after 6, and it was devastating. They had bars on windows, and people speaking about how afraid they were to walk out in their community. Like, this is going on around Australia everywhere.
Yeah,
that's scary.
We're training Indigenous people in the Northern Territory at the moment in relation to security, which we started a program back in 1994 thereabouts, and Tennant Creek Security, and all the regional areas are being affected, and unfortunately the bikies and the drug dealers are targeting these areas, and it's an epidemic. So the more support we get, the more help we get, the more we can save. As you say, taxpayers' money costs billions of dollars every year. When you look at the law enforcement, the medical, and also the incarceration of people who are affected by this drug. You take speed, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, all of those drugs are out of your system within 10 days. With this methamphetamines, it's 30 days, and then it takes a good 12 months for them to try and recover to get even close to where they were before they took this drug, and then in most cases never recover.
It's so true, Tim. I met somebody the other day.
It's a Russian roulette. And they're playing it with their lives, and it's just got to be aware of it. Once they're aware of it, they're educated.
Yeah, absolutely. I met somebody the other day who, in a group kind of atmosphere, decided to give it a shot. They didn't know what it was, and this person is now severely mentally damaged. And I thought he was disabled, and they said, this is from ICE. He wasn't like this before. He stayed like that. And I just, I cried and said, thank God that I managed to come out, you know, and it's only really a very small percent of people that embark in ice addiction, you know, like 2% of people that embark in addiction to ice actually come out the other side, and you don't come out unscarred. You know my journey, Tim, and you know, I don't know anybody that's come out and gone, oh yep, great, you know, I'm going to be somebody important and, you know, get on with my life. It doesn't happen like that. It's, you know, if it takes 12 to 18 months to stabilize your brain chemicals, and then you've got to work at so much more. I still work, I feel like I work harder just to get through a day every day, with memory and driving places and having put everything on my navigator and remembering what I'm doing, because the brain doesn't work as easy as it used to, you know. I don't wish that upon the kids, you know. I look at my grandchild, I look at, you know, kids, and I think they don't deserve that. Somebody needs to tell them, you know. So, and that somebody's us, guys, you know. That somebody's us that know about it. So we need to spread this message, and we need to let our community know. So, guys, we're doing a shout out to Victoria today, and the nation regarding training, you know, the training through the aggression management, but we're doing a shout out for Victoria for sponsors to help us educate the kids in your area. We're doing a shout out for volunteers in Victoria that want to get involved, whether you're from, you know, just somebody in the community, whether you're part of a club, a team, a workplace. Every single person can make a difference. Yeah, every single bit helps. Even if it's a Saturday that you can give up to come and do a sausage sizzle, and help raise funds for the cause, you can do something, yeah? So it starts with us, and I'm just doing that shout out. Please think about this, because it could be knocking on your door tomorrow. God forbid. God forbid. So Tim, any last minute, we've got to wrap up, but any last minute, I guess words that you want to give out there?
Yeah, look, I do want to take this opportunity to acknowledge you, Andrea, for the work that you're doing. You know, I see your attitude, and I see your spirit and your love and compassion for other trainers and people in their community that are needing this type of, you know, support. And, you know, for what you've done and what Glenn and your team's done over the last, you know, few years is just extraordinary. And I just want to acknowledge you and thank you, and you know, acknowledge how you've been able to impart the good and the truth of what you're doing into so many other people and save so many other people. You know,
Thanks,
the people that we've trained here in Victoria as facilitators are just extraordinary, and they all have the same passion and same empathy as you do, and the same vision. So, you know, just I acknowledge you for what you've done, and I just hope you keep doing what you're doing, because it's extraordinary. And
Thanks, Tim.
we're just so grateful to have you as a citizen in our country. And just thank you so much.
Oh, Tim, thank you so much for saying that. It's not been easy. Like I said, you know, I have physical and health issues, but it's because of people like yourself that we can, you know, move forward and help a greater community, because, you know, you've stood in and gone, yeah, I want to make this happen in my community. I see a problem and I want to stand with you. So in unity we achieve more, Tim. So thank you so much. You're an incredible leader in society there, and I'm just honoured to work alongside you to help a greater community. Guys, if you are in Victoria, you need to touch base. You need to unite with the team there. You're going to fall in love with Tim like we have, and the team as well, and you want to be a part of what we're doing. Trust me. Tim, thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. And
Yes.
Guys, you know our slogan, Tim, not even once. Let's do it for the camera.
Not even once.
All right, let's go. Not even once, guys.
Even once.
Awesome. Love you guys. Love you, Tim. Guys, take care. Stay blessed. Stay
Bye-bye.
clean. Bye-bye.
God bless. Bye-bye. Bye.